Ladies and gentlemen, what episode is this? 5? I don't even know.
I forgot the board again, dude. I swear, bro.
We're all out of sorts to start the podcast. I think this is episode 5 of The Breakdown. Yes. It is your boy, Face Sensei. It is your boy, Wade Plem. We're back. How's your weekend been, man?
Been great. My mom's visiting.
There she is. Shout out, moms.
She's a little bit quieter now. She was just eating a bag of chips.
She was
late night snack, I guess, out here at the East Coast. But family visiting. We have our black belt show coming up. A lot of family in town, and just great times, great vibes right now.
Heck yeah, man. Let's go. Black belt banquets and showings coming up on my end. Nothing really new. It's the worst.
All right.
You're like, cool. No, I had a couple of different things going on. I had to watch my dog by myself this week, and that was pretty brutal. I didn't realize how much you need to take the dog out until you're the only one doing it, right?
That's the biggest thing.
And he's not good with other dogs. He's a great dog. If anybody stopped by my live stream this weekend, you guys saw Bo. He's a Lab and German Shepherd mix, but he thinks he needs to protect me in all circumstances. Like it could be a child playing ball, and the hair on the back of his neck stands up. I'm like, I gotta get him around more people, I think, or more dogs or something. I don't know. He's a sweetheart. He just he's just a menace to society out here in these Orange County streets, bro. You know how it goes. But Social Gloves has come back from the dead. Social Gloves 2 is upon us, apparently July 30th. Have you seen any of this? What do you think about this?
Gib and Austin McBroom.
Fight we wanted,
man. A fight that we really wanted.
Yeah.
A fight that we really wanted.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about that. Like, I was just thinking when I saw it, I was like, YouTube boxing gets so much slack, but they're putting on the fights that we want to see. You know what I mean? In comparison to like fights like this would take years in the normal combat sports world.
Yeah.
So.
And to be fair, this one took a while. Right? And I don't know. We're going to get into what I think is the reason. We'll talk to, we'll see what you think. But we have Austin, we have Gib. Pro fight. I don't know if you saw that. Pro fight. So I'm assuming 10 ounces. Give me what you think. Rounds? Are we going 3 minutes? Are we going 4, 6, or 8? How do you think this thing works out?
I think it's going to be, what did Gib do last time? What did Austin do last time? Was it 5?
During the exhibitions, right, they went 5 twos.
If it's going to be pro,
you got to be 3s, right?
It's got to be 3s. It's got to be 3s.
And here's what I said in my video. I think Austin would probably prefer to go 4 or maybe 6, and I think Gib would want to go 8.
Right. I can see, Gib would go 12.
Yeah, if they let Gib go 12, he would.
Austin kind of presents a similar challenge that Gib had with Jake. He's going to be dangerous early, I think.
How do you think Gib combats that, right? Because in the first Jake fight, obviously there's a lot of nerves. His first pro fight, he's headlining. Well, I don't know. Did they headline that card? I think they did, but he's in a major spot on a DAZN card, right? How do you think he even says, it wasn't his night, he didn't have his greatest performance. I think a lot of that had to do with Jake and not so much him, but what do you think he does differently? How does he combat a little bit of those nerves and not come out so much on the front foot that Austin has that opportunity to step back and catch him?
Well, against Taylor, right? Taylor was a kid who was fast, he's sharp. It wasn't like he was a scrub, right? He had a lot of skill. In comparison to most YouTube boxers, he looked pretty sharp. He had a background. But I like that Gib was fighting in and out. He wasn't just moving forward, and he showed that against Taylor, that he can move in and out and not just move forward and run into stuff.
Yep.
So that's the thing. If Gib can try to play, not just try to use, he has good cardio, but he can use footwork in and out distance and kind of play the game and box, not just try to brawl, box early, brawl late, If he can do something like that, I think that's his best, because he just, even against Taylor, it is just his fight style. He doesn't have that fast twitch, quick reaction. He's somebody who can get caught, and he wants to get in there and brawl, and you're going to get hit like that. And unless you have a lot of power, like you saw with Jake, he didn't put fear into Jake.
Mm-hmm. And he caught, I think people forgot, he caught Jake with a hook too in that fight early.
Yeah, exactly. So he hit him, but he didn't put any fear into him.
Jake was like, nah.
So now Jake's like, all right, I'm just going to sit on these shots and I'm gonna hurt you. So that's the thing with, if Austin finds his confidence early, I think you got to make Austin miss to see how hard he's been training. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see what he's been up to. We're going to find out round 4 or 5.
Right, and that's the thing.
What he's really been doing.
I think they're going to settle at 6 because if they go 4s, it's going to be Gibbs going to have to be front foot just bulldozing. Right?
Yeah,
you're going to have
for
to.
Sure.
But a couple of things. Austin is very, I think, as much as I may not like the guy, he's a guy that can and has picked up the sport pretty quickly. He does have.
Yeah, for sure.
He's dangerous in the in-betweens, too. It's not just he's dangerous at range. He finds ways to feint his way in and give guys a little bit of, window dressing to get to where he wants to get to. And, again, it was Bryce, and he may not be the most skilled guy, but.
Yeah, Bryce didn't present much of an offense to him. So, but Austin does have all the attributes you're looking for someone who wants to go into boxing. So he's he hits hard, he's fast, he got good reaction time, good instincts.
What you said about making Gibb making him respect him is definitely an important factor. I think it's the same way though with Austin, right? Taylor didn't really hit Gibb with anything that made him stop. That put him on his heels. Like literally, Jake hit him with a jab and put him on his heels. Right? He stumbled.
Yeah.
So and I don't expect Austin to have that kind of power that Jake found.
What about the size factor? I think Taylor was smaller. He was a lot smaller than I remember. What's the size? What's the difference?
I think we're gonna get an actual close to weight with those two because Jake was way bigger. I think Taylor was I don't want to say way small. He was smaller. Right? He was about 10 to 15 pounds smaller. I think Austin's around 175. I think Gibbs around 175, 180. I think they're going to be similar size, and that's good. I think Austin has a bit of a reach advantage, but which could be a factor. You know what I'm saying? Jake being able to reach out and touch Gibb and not be touched was definitely a factor there too. But it's going to be a fun fight, man.
How long ago was Social Gloves, the first one?
Last year on it might have been today. Or no, I think it was yesterday.
See, that's the thing too. Gibb is one of those guys that's always in the gym, dude. So that's a year ago. So if he is definitely in better shape, he's definitely a better athlete because he made huge strides from Jake to Social Gloves. He looked way different physically.
And you're not the only guy to say that, by the way, about Gibb being in the gym all the time. Obviously, Leon says the same thing, but Viddal says the same thing. I talked to Brian a little bit about just through DM and stuff. True Jordy was saying that he's like that guy's always he just loves going and sparring and training and he's just in there all the time.
Right. So. And he showed a better punching ability against Taylor. Mm-hmm. So if we're talking a year, Gibb may be a bit faster, right? And if Gibb has somebody who's developed some speed and some power, he's going to be like the guy that nobody wants to fight.
Yeah, honestly, because that gas tank already gives you cause for concern, right? It's the same reason KSI gives guys cause for concern. He can hit hard, and he has a ridiculous gas tank.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like. Yeah, Gibb presents one of those, one half of that equation. If he adds the second, it's going to be tough for guys to handle. 10-ounce gloves is definitely a major concern, too, for these two guys because Austin throwing straight punches lands clean. Gibb, working body coming upstairs. It's going to be a fun fight, man. Now, who else do you think is going to be on this card? I'll give you my picks after, but give me at least 2 or 3 fights you think will be on this card.
When is this?
July 30th, so we have about 2 months. A month in 3 weeks.
I feel like Bryce is going to be on it.
Okay. Who do you have going against Bryce?
I feel like man.
Because he can't fight another McBroom family member, right? You can't put him in there with Landon.
No. And Bryce actually, I saw some recent clips. He looked pretty good.
I'm not saying that he can't fight him, but I'm just saying.
No, I was just saying in general. I was like, Bryce looked pretty good.
And I've said this when he was sparring the Fargas brothers. He has some things he does really well. I think his reactions are a little bit better now. I think he sees punches a little bit better. I think sometimes Bryce gets a little stiff and he wants to But when he opens up a little bit and relaxes, his jab's really nice. And sometimes he can come over with with the right hand. But
who else would fight in we're talking a month? Who would be ready to fight? I know Bryce. But...
This is my theory. They're going to get guys. I think some of the guys, and we'll talk about this in a second. I think some of the guys that were on Social Gloves 1 are trying to get on Social Gloves 2, and I don't know what Austin's promised them or what his new backers promised them, but we'll talk about it in a second. Austin put this big, long diatribe. I'll put it in the little call here, and basically said that there's some guys that are looking to get on the card and talking about payments that may be pending because those guys are going to fight again. But my theory is Austin's family will be on the card, so you will see Landon. You'll see Ryan Johnston. So there's 2 fights already that they're going to have, right? Now they just need opponents. Landon today says he wants to fight your boy Temper. So I don't know, maybe.
Oh, Tommy, let's go. Yeah. Tommy will be ready.
So that's what it's that little inside info is Tommy stayed in the gym. I don't know if you've been in contact with him.
Tommy's never left the gym. Right when he got back, he was so excited to get back into it and get back at it. So
he's just in the gym and in that new FaZe Clan warehouse, just back and forth, huh?
That's all he does.
I see him. I was gonna say I see him in there all the time, dude. But so yeah.
What about Jarvis? Maybe Jarvis.
Jarvis was another name that Landon brought up. Jarvis or Temper.
How big is Landon? They're not. These guys are not close to the same size.
I want to say tiny, but he's smaller. He's not like Tommy at his original weight would dwarf Landon. Like, I think Landon's a 160er, 165er at most.
Yeah. That's how I was like, wait, what?
So Jarvis makes sense, but he said FaZe Temper. I don't know. Well, listen, speaking of this Social Gloves event, I wanted to show you this. Are you looking in the Discord right now?
Okay, I need to, bump up my glasses here.
It's basically a storybook on why he is doing this second event, what happened with the first one. And I'm not going to lie, I looked at this thing and called bullshit immediately. Are you seeing some of the stuff he's saying in here and kind of like...
Yeah, just right off the rip, it just seems very like...
And I'm not in the business of going into another man's business, but this is all public, right? Like, for example...
You know what I'm saying? Like, you see, I don't know, most... The influencers who are on top of the game shoot it to you straight. You know what I'm saying? Like KSI and... Logan or even Jake, they'll still they're not gonna do a post it looks like a professional post here or something.
You wait a year, and maybe it's because he's trying to settle things and all that, but he puts out this long message, and basically it goes into saying stuff like, this is why we did this. There's a comment in here that says they amassed over 2 billion impressions, and fighters got millions of followers out of this event, and that therefore made it successful. Well, the fighters that you promised you would pay millions of dollars to do this event, I don't think they were satisfied. And fair play, that's awesome. They got 1 million followers, but you promised them millions of dollars. I don't think that they want to trade the followers in for the money you know what I mean? And just
no way, dude.
Saying things like this was the first of its kind because they had 16 influencers on the card. And again, TikTok wasn't a thing when KSI Logan Paul 1 happened, but that was the model they based this whole thing off of. Like, they had people in their company that worked or said they worked on the first Logan and KSI card. Like, that was the 100% the model that you guys tried to replicate that. This was not a original thought. This was not something that you just thought of as like, oh, what if we did this? No, this had been done before and you guys wanted to replicate it. And that's fine. But just claiming like, we were the first ones and only ones to like, what do we like?
Yeah, saying all that when you didn't pay somebody is just
and that's another thing too. He goes on in this, and we'll briefly talk about this because I'm not going to read this whole thing again. But he goes on to talk about how James Harden was a big investor in this thing, and he was a great friend, and he appreciated it. But
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Well, reports came out, and I don't know if this was ever confirmed or not, but a lot of this stuff hasn't been confirmed because it's been settled out of court. But James Harden apparently had sued him for $2 million after this whole thing happened because he was promised a return on investment that he never got.
Right.
Like, it's baffling. And then he goes on to say all the fighters have been compensated. And again, it's a lot of wordplay, they were compensated.
Right.
They were compensated as in settled out of court for a price that wasn't what they were promised, and they had to settle because you couldn't pay them what you owed them. You know what I mean? They were compensated for 70% less. And again, it's
crazy.
just like it's just like the wordplay he's going with, and he's like, oh, everybody was compensated. And I can tell you again, and I'm not trying to go off on a little thing here. It's just stuff like this bothers me because they were like, it's the greatest event. We put on the best event. And everybody on socials is like, it was the greatest event. Well, guys, it's easy to put on a great event when you promise performers, announcers, fighters, everyone this crazy money. You get DJ Khaled, you get, whoever else, I don't know, Lil Baby, whoever, and you get all these fighters to agree to come on this card under the false premise that they're going to get paid millions of dollars, and then you just pull the rug. The event's already done, so of course the event went great. But you didn't fulfill your end of the deal, and so you can't do another one of these unless you're running a little bit of what I would call a Ponzi scheme, which looks like what this is going to be. And I hope that every fighter that fights on this card, and I'm talking directly to anyone, and I think Gib already knows this, please get paid up front. Please.
That's what the UK guys did last time.
Yeah.
That's why Gibb probably, has no problem fighting again because he knows he's going to get paid up front, so he don't care.
If you don't get paid up front, chances are you're not going to get your full purse, and probably not even 50% of what you're promised. Like, that's just the past of what we've seen here. But, yeah, anyway.
I can't even imagine. I'm like the nicest guy in the world. But let me tell you something. If you ain't going to pay me, I'm showing up to your doorstep, bro. I'm showing up right to your doorstep.
I just wanted you to take a look at that and get your thoughts on it. But, yeah, I was definitely I wanted to put this in my video today, but it was just so much, and I rambled for like 30 minutes on it. But I was like, what are we doing here? This shows me that not only have you not, he says he's learned a lot of hard lessons, you didn't learn anything. In fact, you're talking about how you lost millions of dollars as the promoter of this event. Well, let me tell you something. That's the job of the promoter. You know what I'm saying? That's the risk you incur. You want to put on an event. You want to put on the big boy pants and say, hey, I'm doing an event. This is all on me. Social Gloves, my company. Ask Logan and KSI how much they made from KSI and Logan 1. And they sold 10 times what you sold without any sponsors.
I remember, I don't know if it was impulsive, but I remember Logan, them saying originally to Austin, like, dude.
They knew.
They
knew.
This ain't looking right.
Logan, I mean, again, I don't know the back end of thing, but I just think about it this way. Logan and KSI had no official sponsor. They didn't have a LiveX Live. They did it with YouTube, who took a share of what they did because they streamed it on YouTube.
A fat share. Also, just so you know, most of the fight, we didn't get,
exactly.
A lot of us didn't get paid.
None of the undercard guys were under the premise that they were going to get paid.
Right. We were told that.
You guys were told, like, we're not getting paid. But Jake, Logan, KSI, and Deji were. Or at least they were supposed to. But when you think about putting on an event and running this thing from two people promoting it, two companies, Logan's company, KSI's, you have managers.
Yeah, for sure.
You have agents. You have Jake to pay out. You have Deji to pay out. You have to pay out KSI's team. You have to pay out your, like, it's just too much money for everyone to get millions of dollars like Austin promised. And it's all on him. You can't make this ridiculous, like, storybook paragraph and blame everyone else for what happened and take zero responsibility. It's crazy to me.
Imagine like Creator Clash. Ian's like, well, we couldn't raise any money for charity, guys, because dude.
Baffling. I want this card to succeed. I'm saying that now. Austin, whoever, I want this to succeed. I want you guys to learn from the mistake. I want these things to work. But fighters get paid up front. That's all I'm saying. Get paid up front. Because if not, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you've been swindled by Austin McBroom. Anyway, we'll see what happens there. But we were talking about weight a second ago, right? Not Wade concept, not weight, but weight. And
yes,
I wanted to talk to you about this because I made a video on it. And I wanted to see what you thought. KSI looking pretty lean lately, heading into his fight in August. I got some. Actually, I'll ask you first. If you had to guess right now, what do you think KSI weighs from what you've seen of him? He's been working with your boy Jasper, who hopefully we're going to get on the podcast soon to talk more about this. So we'll
get Jasper on.
Yeah, we're going to try to get him on because I don't want to talk out of my ass here. But
right now, probably, I'm assuming he's got to be low 190s.
Yeah. And there was a Sidemen video that came out Sunday, and a lot of people are noticing he's looking, really trim. From what we'd seen in that video, I think that would have been the case. But I got a text, and I'm not going to say from who, that KSI is probably more around 185.
I'm not surprised.
He's getting low. Like, to be at 185 right now, he's getting low. Because he's not doing that to cut massive weights on fight week, right?
No.
So he's going to try to hover here, and then I don't know how low he's going to go, but to be 185 with 2 months to go, 2+ months to go, is not only shows he's working hard, but shows that his natural weight is that KSI Joe Weller weight. We both said we didn't know if he could get back to that weight because of how old he is now and how you just put on weight when you get older.
Yeah.
But it looks like, again, this is not confirmed. It was just someone that I know that also knows him saying, yeah, he's around 185 pounds right now.
He's leaning out, man.
Leaning out quickly. That's your boy Jasper, man. I don't know what that guy helps everyone, dude. Anybody he works with, obviously he knows what he's doing, but dude's got the magic touch, man.
Just behind the scenes helping people.
Smashing it, man.
He looks good at 185 too. If he's 185, he looks really damn good at 185.
Yeah, not draining himself. He looks full. He's got a nice build. Over here, like he looks good. Man's is looking.
Well, he's clearly got his eyes on Jake, so that's what he's training for.
Yeah, well, he even said that, right? I think some audio came out of him saying he wants Jake next year. And, of course, as he says that, Austin puts up a post and says, I want KSI at the end of this year. I'm down for all those fights. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's what JJ wants. I think he wants
100%.
Fight in August, and he's going to fight Austin.
Yeah, that's the game plan.
If he beats Gibb.
What happens there? What happens there?
I think he just laughs at Austin.
He just laughs at Austin and waits till next year?
Waits for Jake.
Because it's a really...
If Austin beats Gibb, I think JJ's going to be pissed and just try to knock on, want to end this dude.
But yeah, no, listen, I'm excited for KSI's fight. I'm excited for whatever's going to happen with Social Gloves. But this is something that kind of went under the radar today. I don't know, if you have any thoughts on it, but Jake, obviously slated to fight on August 13th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not Happy Punch. MVP comes out with a little, Instagram story last week, says, patience is a virtue or good things come to those who wait, something like that. And then today, Jake takes August 13th out of his bio. You think they're moving dates? Austin coming up in July. Ryan Garcia in July. International Fight Week in July. There might be, I don't know this to be true, but there might be a little bit of a hangover heading into that second week in August. And the fact that they still haven't really announced who it's going to be. And
that's what I was going to say. It makes sense because they haven't announced who it's going to be. There's no hype around it right now. So why not just push it? There's no reason for him to force it for that time.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of boxing journalists, and even Eddie Hearn has come out and said, and Eddie would probably know more than you and I do, that Jake and Tommy are supposed to fight. He's like, I'm not representing them, but I hear that they're going to be fighting on the 13th. So it does seem like Tommy's going to be the guy. It's just, I think they might be pushing that date because of, and people are asking me, so that's why I'm bringing it up, but if I had to guess, if they push that date, it's because there's a lot of big-time cards the month in front of them, and there might be a little bit of that layover, and they may want to push. I don't know where they would push, though, because you go past August, and then you're right behind KSI. And it's like, maybe you want to do that, but I don't know. Yes. Oh, my God. We didn't even talk about this. Let's watch this really quick. I couldn't even believe this. I don't know if you've seen it today, but...
Is it the sparring partner?
Did you see that?
Yeah, I was so funny. I was like, I haven't uploaded a YouTube video in a year. I was like, this is the video.
The people have been missing you, bro. You going to do that one?
This is the video I'm coming back to. I don't know when I'm going to record it, but I will at some
Let's do
point.
first thoughts then. What did you think of that?
Dude, I was like, here we go.
This has happened before, by the way, in Jake's camp.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And now it's happened again. Do you think this is attributed more to Jake's team and the way they run camp? Or do you think this is more of a one-off deal where a sparring partner was a little disgruntled with how things went?
I think it's a combination of both. But this is what's going to happen because when you bring in fighters, you're going to have a bullseye because of the way that you talk and the way that you hold yourself and the way that you say things, And it seemed like he said he was being all cordial, And then something happened in there, because he was turning up.
Yep.
And then they kicked him out, but this dude's not being quiet, so it's tricky. But this is only gonna get worse.
Yeah, and this is the tough part if you're Jake, right? You have a good team around you. You have guys that look after you. You have Jalen Love. You have obviously BJ Flores, John Pascal's in that camp. There's legitimate guys in there, but you can't just spar those guys. You can't just work with those guys because those guys are not going to go. I mean, we're talking about championship level guys at one point. They're not going to go to try to knock your head off, right? They're not going to. And I'm not saying that every sparring session should be that. And this is why I want to take Jake's team's side a little bit here. Because like you said, guys are going to come in and look to take Jake's head off. They're going to come in under the guise of, oh, yeah, I'm here to give this guy work, for sure. And then get in there and things turn up, and that's not what they were brought in to do necessarily, right?
It seemed like this exactly. It seemed like the sparring was going well. It just seemed like Jake cranked on his neck.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looked like Jake might have pulled some, and again we don't know, but this is just from
the guy was saying that he seemed like he was until that point,
and then all of a sudden
like,
things changed.
Okay,
yeah. But like you said, it's a great point because you are gonna have guys that come in and maybe aren't as cordial as this guy was, or
right.
whatever happened there, and if you're Jake. He has to know this, and I'm sure the whole team over there, and that's why I said he's got guys there to protect him if that goes bad. And that's not like a bad thing, like, oh, they're protecting him. They should do that.
Right.
They should.
No, yeah, of course.
That's their guy. Like, that's, of course. But you are going to have guys that come in and might not be as cordial and might come in under the pretense of giving this guy work and come in and try to knock Jake's head off, and do it for fighters, and do it for boxing or for MMA, whatever. And so this guy, I think you're right. He's probably a little bit of both. I think he probably felt like Jake was trying to take advantage a bit of the fact that he was 40 pounds less, like he said, a fact that he might have been letting or not doing as much as he could have been doing in that sparring session. And Jake got a little overconfident and maybe tried to big boy him and bully him a bit. And then he turned up, and they didn't like that.
Yeah, see, it was interesting because this is what I got from it. I'm interested to hear what you think because and the way that I'm thinking about the way the guy explained it, it seemed like he said he was putting in work or whatever, so he's doing well. Jake responded to him by snapping a guillotine on him or something.
Yeah, like you got it. Like, a little over under. Yeah,
but if it wasn't like he said like, oh, the team was trying to slow me down because I was putting in work.
Right.
So it seemed like that was more just Jake.
Like Jake's response to him putting in that work was frustration.
Jake
let me grab you.
Frustration, and not so much his team.
Right.
Being like, yo, ease up on Jake.
Yeah.
So there's more so.
That's where
Jake responding that.
I was gonna say that's where I would side with this guy too, right? If it was just Jake going into business for himself and being like, you're not supposed to be better than me, or I'm frustrated and can't really, handle the boxing aspect of this, but I'm bigger than you, so I'm just gonna try to get a little dirty here, do something that's not, we didn't bring you in here to crank on your neck. You know what I mean? That I would understand. These are spars. You're not going to win every one. If you're getting worked, it's
right.
Deal with it with the gloves on. Don't you know what I'm saying?
And I'm I wasn't there in the room, but a part of me thinks too, like Jake probably realized how just like this guy's personality and is like that probably must have been a pretty frustrating. There's guys like, you get beat by certain guys. I sparred Rashidi Ellis, and he put me in the Matrix. But the whole thing was going to be controlled anyways.
Yeah.
Like I was like, bro, don't knock me out. Just I'm just going to try to be in the Matrix right now, and then you're just going to do whatever you want, like, and it's cool. But like, there's getting pieced up like that.
Yeah.
And then there's getting straight sunned.
Sunned, exactly. And they're talking to you, and
Jake's probably like, I'm done with this, bro. I don't need this right now. Screw this guy.
Come here. But hey, man, like I said, you gotta. And fair play, we'll find out more about what happened, but you gotta find a way to deal with stuff like that better for sure. If it went down that way, we don't know. Like we're just looking at one side of this. I'm sure there's a completely different side, but I thought that was something we definitely should cover. Let's talk about Viddal Riley. Has a fight coming up this Saturday. What are you expecting to see out of Viddal Riley coming up this Saturday?
A finish. He didn't get the finish in the last fight, right?
That is correct. He didn't get the finish. He had a beautiful uppercut that didn't quite finish it off.
Uppercut was amazing.
Beautiful stuff.
And didn't he just say that he wants to? How soon? He said. I remember seeing something that he wanted to capture the title pretty soon.
Yeah, he's been saying by the time I think 2023 finished up, he wanted to hold gold. So it's a lofty aspect for sure. But if anybody's going to be able to do it at cruiser, and as quickly as he is starting to get the attention of people, like that's the real benefit, of having this social media presence that Viddal has, is he's able to command an audience that other people with the same record, with the same amateurs, with the same, development maybe won't, and that could lead him to a title fight a little quicker.
Yeah, I expect to see a finish here.
He's
just one of those guys. He just especially at that size.
Yeah, and
he's got ridiculous closing speed, his fast twitch, his instincts, hits like a Mack truck. He's very elusive at that size. He fights like he's smaller.
Yeah, he does. He fights like a light heavyweight. Absolutely. Like he moves. I didn't say fights, but he moves like a light heavyweight.
Right.
And again, it's something where when you watch him fight, you get this feeling that he hasn't even really shown like the totality of his game yet. You know?
No, I feel like in the last fight, watching him, like it just felt like he was trying to get into the groove.
No, exactly. It seemed like
he was like being super, like he was being sharp. He was doing everything right.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, Viddal's just gonna let go and just be an absolute cannon and just lose cannon. I feel like when he gets to that place, when he's completely comfortable in his zone, that I've seen him in the gym sometimes and do some stuff.
Oh, when he's shown flashes of it too. When he's in flow state and you're starting to see him like put it together, and it was even in the last fight. You saw he started to ramp it up, and at the end of that combination, the uppercut off the step back, and he puts a guy down, and then when like you said, when he can put it together through the totality of the fight and really start to put it on guys, sheesh. It's going to be a problem.
Oh, man, I didn't get the finish. Like that's.
I know. It's like he dominates the fight, doesn't lose a minute of that fight, but the comment is, I didn't get the finish. Which, fair play. It's a great mindset to have for him. He knows where he is, and obviously he knows himself better than we do. He knows where his talent level is, and he knows what he should be doing at that talent level. And so if he's disappointed in that, then that just shows the greatness he is and can be, right? I'm looking for a stoppage here from Viddal as well. Possibly, maybe get him on the podcast to talk about it after. I think that would be a lot of fun. And then let's talk about what you have coming up. We haven't actually talked much about this. We haven't actually talked much about this at all, but we'll end off with this. You got football season coming up. Not only professional and college, which we will be covering here on the podcast. Not going to, full podcast, probably not going to take a dedicated deal like that, but we will be covering it in segments. But you specifically have your season coming up. You guys don't know, Sensei is a semi-professional all-star quarterback.
Dude, this is the most, if y'all want to know what it's like playing semi-pro, just watch The Longest Yard or The Replacements. More so like The Longest Yard, to be honest. And that's what we'd be doing.
The Longest Yard is a W movie, I have to say.
Now, let me tell you something. Last year, we had 17 guys show up to a playoff game.
17?
It was an away game that was it was like 2.5 hours away in Connecticut. And the team messed it up by making the game mad early, so we had to leave at like 10 a.m. And guys were like, we knew that we were it was a mismatch.
Yeah.
So guys just didn't show. Terrible.
Jesus.
Right, but we still put up 2 tutties. We still put up a fight for the first half. It was crazy. I was coming off of COVID.
Oh,
actually,
Jesus.
Which was pretty crazy. But right now we have 55 people on our damn roster, and we're probably going to run through this whole league, to be honest.
55 people on the roster.
It's crazy.
That's more than that's allowed in an NFL roster, by the way.
Once you get the ball rolling a little bit, especially in semi, they're like, oh, they think that this squad's going to win. Let's all hop on. But I will tell you something. You want to hear something crazy?
Serious.
Guess what I got in my Facebook Messenger inbox yesterday?
Facebook Messenger. I would assume it's something for snake oil.
I got an offer for a 1-day contract with an arena football team.
Oh, shit!
So it's a 1-day contract for absolute nothing. So, but it's one of those little leagues that it's professional. It's actually paid. It's professional football.
Is this the damn? This is fucking awesome. Is this the what I've seen? Is it on TV? Is it like?
Yeah, they have there's a handful of leagues. There's IFL. There's other teams, other leagues, whatever. But this league, somebody that I know that used to play O-line for me a couple years ago on our team now plays for one of the teams, and he's like, "Hey, I talked with a coach. We got a 1-day contract for you, potentially.
QB?
You want to talk to him? Yeah, dude.
Oh,
sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah, indoor or is this outdoor?
No, it's indoor. No, it's indoor arena.
Professional indoor arena. The arena 60-yarder, that whole deal.
Yeah, the dudes run, fly by.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is I've never played that. That system. I'm gonna come in. I'm like, this sounds terrible. I think it's in Washington State, dude. I think it's in Washington. They said Washington. I have to fly in there, play a game. This is the worst position in any sport. The worst position in any sport to just walk in and play on a game is quarterback.
No chemistry, no idea what the offense is, no idea how to even play that kind of football.
But part of me is kind of like,
it's kind of cool, though.
I never played pro football in my life. This might be my only shot. So I haven't said anything yet, but just had to put it out there, guys.
There is episode 5 of The Breakdown. Your boy Sensei. It's me, Wade Plim. We keep saying we're going to have a guest. I promise. We've been working on it. It's just...
Hey, Ma, you want to come... You want to come on the pod real quick?
It's a busy time, as you guys know, in the YouTube boxing scene, so we're trying to get names. We should have one for you next week. We should have one the week after that. And then, by that time, it should be around the time where I'm going to go see my man Sensei in person, and we're going to have some fun there as well. So we are out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out, and goodbye.
Oos.